Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
I would like to define myself only as a teacher because the capacity building has occurred while I was working as a teacher. I've learned a lot during my teaching days, and all those experiences I am carrying with me right now. It is a matter of pleasure for me that I am interacting with, I would say, what you call administrative people, or say in general language, we call it non-teaching staff members, but I would like to use more appropriate word. I call them academic support staff. They are not non-teaching members. In fact, they are the support system of any institution, whether it is a college or whether it is a university, any kind of educational institutions. So I welcome all academic support staff members, and I would like to just pinpoint some of the qualities which all of you must have, because you all are dealing with human administration. Administrative responsibilities which have been bestowed upon you, it is to administrate an institute which are student centric institute. You all work in college offices, or you all work in university offices, and you report to a higher authority, which may be the principal of the college, or which may be the director or dean in case of universities. But as far as my experience goes in college administration while I was in college, as well as administration of this government body since last 10 years, I am associated with University Granth Nirman Board, which is Government of Gujarat organization. My experience says that uh, administrative office of any organization, it is, I would say, the lungs of that organization. So better equipped and better functioning of any administrative office is always a prerequisite for a successful organization, whether it is an academic organization or non-academic organization. As I very rightly said in the beginning, that I believe you all are academic support staff, because in your office, if you list out the activities or the kind of services which you provide, number one, I would say, are the student services. We all believe, and we all have been speaking a lot, that education has to be student centric. Educational institutes have to be student centric. That means our focus is on the student services to be provided to the students, right from the time of, say, publication, or say development of an academic brochure, what you say, informing them about various kind of courses that your educational institute provides, then to their admissions, then to their enrollment, and various kind of services which you provide to a student while the student is studying in that educational institution. So academic staff, of course, teachers have the responsibility of teaching the students, imparting the subject knowledge. But apart from that, whatever a student requires, whether it is in connection to the college or it is in connection to the university, whether it is enrollment or whether it is examination form or whether it is mark sheet or whether it is bona fide certificate or whether it is some kind of identity card or whether it is, say, library services, all these services which comes under student services are being offered by you all. You all are responsible and accountable for these services which you provide, because in a classroom, a teacher just finishes his class and leaves the class. Now, when the student has to use library services or he wishes to have some additional information or something like that, he always interacts with the office. And therefore, I would say that office is the lungs of any institution. Better the office, better equipped, say highly skilled, the staff of the office, better will be the functioning of institutes. Apart from student services, you also have certain academic responsibilities. Sometimes, in designing timetables, implementing the timetables, providing right kind of infrastructural facilities to the students in the institute, whether it is the facilities inside the classroom, whether it is facilities outside the classroom, whether it is sports facilities, or whether it is any cultural recreation facilities. Because you are, as a, you are part of an administration. Of course, you know, you say it is generally believed that the decisions are to be taken by the management or principal. But who is going to report to the principal or the management? Who is going to suggest to the principal or the management? It's you people who are going to suggest that what kind of facilities or infrastructural facilities are required in the institute to provide a better academic, that is a better curricular as well as co-curricular environment. Not only you have to suggest them, but you have to be very active. You have to play a very active role in seeing that those kind of facilities are made available to the students without any kind of hitch or any kind of problem. So your role in academic activities is much beyond the scope of a role a teacher plays. Teacher, of course, imparts the knowledge, but he is restricted to his own subject. Whereas other facilities, infrastructural facilities, facilities for other activities, I think you all have very active role in making those things available. Number three, your role comes in interaction with the faculty, interaction with various departments, interaction with heads of the departments, interaction with teachers. And you all know, and my experience says that demands of teachers exceeds the demands of students. Every department will ask for certain kind of facility. Every teacher will ask for certain kind of facility in order to facilitate better learning environment. Every teacher will demand certain kind of reference or library facilities which is necessary for a teacher. And every teacher during the teaching period undergoes career development or career advancement, and those procedures of career advancement have to pass through your office. So a teacher, in fact, though he has been employed by the management, is quite dependent on the office, that how far he will progress, and what kind of what kind of courses or what kind of career development he will undergo, right? So it is the responsibility of the academic support staff or office to make aware the teachers regarding the various kinds of career development opportunities he or she must undergo, and provide the adequate guidance to the teachers for that. And once that process is over, right, maintaining their service records, maintaining their leave records, all these things, these are the part of your responsibility. Now, coming to a very important point is the expenditure. I'm not talking about the account system, but if you try to find out, if you try to analyze and try to find out that out of the total expenditure which an institute incurs during a year, what percentage of expenditure is behind the administrative work, and what amount is being spent in instructional, I would say, teaching process. You will arrive at a very interesting figure. I don't want to comment. I have certain data that what amount out of the total expenditure every institute is maintaining, I would say, spending behind its administration. And this administration includes, all these student services, academics, as well as faculty services, providing all kind of, say, infrastructural facilities and everything. And at the same time, if you compare it with the amount which is spent behind the instructional process, that is the teaching process or the laboratory experiments, I would advise you, all of you, to prepare an inventory on this. When you go back to your institute, try to prepare an inventory that what are the expenditures that we are incurring during a year and what percentage we are giving to administration and what are the expectations from the administration. If you prepare an inventory, you will arrive at an interesting figure, and you all will try to believe that the amount which is being spent behind administration is much less than what it should have been done actually. One of the important thing which I would like to highlight over here is that apart from your routine administration work, these days, student counseling also has become very important. How your institute will be recognized as number one institute, or how the students will be attracted to get admitted in your institutes. You need to counsel the students, you need to counsel the parents who come for the inquiry for admission. And when you are working in a college office, you have different responsibilities. Someone is looking after enrollment, someone is looking after accounts, someone is looking after, say, collection of fees and everything. The responsibilities are divided. But I would suggest that one of you should be highly skilled, and that person should constantly interact with the students. It is ideal to develop one particular individual who has knowledge of the institute, about the institute functions, the kind of facilities the institute provides, and what are the, say, outstanding things about your particular institute where the student is likely to get certain things which he or she may not be able to get anywhere else. So this kind of counseling, has become very important, because these days, whenever a student seeks an admission to an educational institute, there is a tendency that he or she tries to find out what the student is going to get back in return. So very precisely, you have to counsel the parents, you have to counsel the student also regarding the kind of facilities, regarding the kind of competence your institute would be able to impart onto the students. Then and then only, the student will be attracted and will take admission in your institute. You should also appraise them with, the application schedule. What are the kind of courses available? What is the schedule? What is the schedule of examination? How the entire institute functions? What are the systems in operations? All these things, and it is good to have this kind of single window system in every educational institution where someone is always available, to attend the students and to, it's not necessary to give answer of question, but whenever a student comes to you, there has to be somebody who listens to the students. Just if you listen to that students for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, or 8 minutes, half of the work is done. If you listen to the student very peacefully, that what he or she wants, what are his needs, what are his requirements, right? Then half of the things are done. And then, whenever the demands are satisfied or not, that depends upon a lot of other factors. But someone from the office, has to do this on behalf of the institute, because you are part of the administration. You are the face of the institution as well, as far as the administration is concerned. Every student will not go to principal's office and ask the principal or speak to the principal. Normally, every student comes to the office and tries to speak. If we talk about, some of the skills which an administrator, I'm not going into intricacies of how to go for, say, enrollment process or how to go for administration process. I am talking about human management, because what you are going to do is going to manage the various kind of human resources as well as infrastructural resources. So I am going to, speak in a manner that will raise some questions in your mind, and you will try to analyze how well you are functioning and what betterment is needed in the way you are functioning. Some of the basic skills these days which are required for being a good administrator these days. And if you ask anybody, everyone will say that the first thing is the computer skills, because the database management, everything in last 10 or 15 or 20 years now is being computerized, right from the admission to examination process and declaration of results. Everything requires maintaining a very good database. So, and I'm sure, I'm 100% sure that all of you are very proficient in computer skills. You must be, you must have developed your own programs also in different institutes to manage the student records, and records not only at the time of admission, but try to maintain the records at each step of the student progression. Because if you maintain this record, it will help you in a long run, because you know, whenever your institute goes for accreditation, then you will have everything on hand, you will not have to find out anything. So not only the results of the students, but any outstanding achievements, any progression of the student, any placement of the student, right? Try to maintain it in your computer and make it, make a program, whereby just by selecting one parameter, you can filter out those who have particular kind of achievement. That will help the institute in a very long run. That will also help you to find out the weaker areas of progression, that which are the strong areas of progression in your institutes, which are the weaker areas of progression in your institute, and that will help you in making the institute stronger in the years to come. Second very important thing is, because as I just mentioned, that you all are constantly interacting, not only with students, you are interacting with the parents of students, you are interacting with academicians, you are interacting with other university officials as well as faculty members. So I would say it is not secondary, but I would place it before the computer skill, that is very good interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills, when you are interacting with others, as well as interpersonal skills among your colleagues, because you are working in a group of 3, group of 4, or group of 5. So you should have very good interpersonal skills when you are talking with the students, when you are talking with the colleagues, or when you are talking with the parents, when you are talking with the, I would say, teachers, or when you are interacting with principal, or at times you need to interact with the management also. So every interaction requires a different level of interpersonal skill. When you are speaking to a student, you have to go to their level, and to understand them, you have to go to their level, right? And as the hierarchy goes on, you have to go to a higher level when you interact with higher level these things. So there has to be a, every institute, office of every institute better functions better if there is a very good teamwork. No single individual can ever make the office stronger. So I would say that with respect to interpersonal skills of your colleagues, maybe the colleague may be dealing with anything like finance or accounting or enrollment or anything. But whenever you are dealing with, your colleagues, try to find out each other's strength as well as weaknesses, and try to make your colleagues stronger, motivate them, right? And try to make them stronger in the areas where you feel they are weak. Have an open communication with each other, very frank I would say conversational skills with each other, that will give you a sort of a bonding, and that will make your team stronger. Then you should have organizational skills. These days in educational institutes, seminars are organized, workshops are organized. Say sometimes the cultural event is organized, sometimes the sports event is organized, right? All, or sometimes the book exhibition is organized, some expert talk is organized, or annual days are sometimes organized. Of course, in past 1 year or recent time, because of some of the difficulties that we all are facing, these kind of things might not even organized. But even the youth festival organization and all those things. So an office has to be an organizational expert. You can delegate the responsibilities to teachers who are in charge of various events. But your role is to work in the center of this organization, because every organization will incur an expenditure. And while you organize an event, you also have an eye on expenditure. So you are the guiding force that how that event is going to be organized, what are the steps, what are the prerequisites for that particular event, and how much are we going to do and how much we are not going to do. This has to be very clearly spelled out before you organize any such things, right? And so that also you should have, because you will be coordinating with teachers, you will be coordinating with students while you organize such an event. And finally, I would also add one more thing, and that is problem solving skills. You know, you all will agree that at the end of the day, when you get up, when your duty hours are over and when you get up from the chair, you discuss, every day there are certain problems. Every day we are facing this. This student is always coming here with this kind of, complaints, or this teacher is coming here with every kind of complaint. This classroom needs some kind of repair, or some of the sanitary facilities, or all those things. But, you know, problems are everywhere, with respect to infrastructure, with respect to, say, with respect to facilities which you provide, with respect to kind of resources which you provide. No one of us are adequate in all aspects. But you should have, the knowledge before the problems comes to you. Try to work in an environment that before the complaint comes to you, you should be aware that these are the areas which needs to be addressed. These are the areas which needs to be improved. Then, then you will start thinking about it, that how to solve this particular problem. So, and try to find out, whenever you try to solve a problem, try to find out, according to me, a creative solution to that particular problem. A creative solution means that, it is something where you may not have to, spend much. You may not have to do a very great expenditure, but try to counsel the person who has come with the problem. Try to address the problem and try to find out the solution in such a manner that in the existing setup, what best you can provide at that particular moment, and then you can plan that how to address that particular this thing. But on that particular moment, whatever best you can provide, you should make your effort for them. So be ready for challenge. Challenges always come every day in any field of life, right? It is just like, listening to them and trying to find out. So if you look at all these things, the kind of things which you do, kind of things which you attend, then I would like to tell you one sentence, that your job, the job of university or college administration, college administrators, is to preserve the values, preserve the ideals, integrate, as well as longevity of the institution. So the ideals as well as values of the institution, will become, will have a longevity. In a long run, they will become an ideals, or it will be, your institution will be established as a good institution, provided you all have this kind of awareness. You all are duty bound to understand the needs of the students, because in very first line I told you that all institutions have to be student-centric institution. But whenever you have to take a decision, right, you have to think about two things. Apart from that decision being in the interest of the student, it also has to be in the interest of the institution. So, sometimes, when you try to do something for the students, right, then indirectly you cause some kind of harm to the institution. So try to balance when you take a decision which is a student-centric decision, that it should be equally beneficial to the institution, because it is because of the institution that you all are there and we all are there. So of course, I would say that institution itself exists because of students. I agree to that. But you have to carry out that whole process in a manner that it will you you try to develop those kind of practices that will affect students in a beneficial way, and at the same time it will be beneficial for, or it will be in the interest of, institute itself. Now, with this background, let us go a little bit further. People talk about the qualifications when they hire academic support staff, right? Even the government has fixed certain norms. Even the managements or institutes also have fixed certain norms, right? But my experience says that anybody who can work well in as an administrator, anybody who can work, can excel in administration in the universities or in the college, uh, should have a degree either in education or psychology, because these are the two areas, which helps you in reading the human minds. You should have a good knowledge of education, and you should have a good knowledge about psychology itself. Of course, there are two more things which are also equally important for running of an administrative institution, and that is accounting as well as laws. But that can be learned. Accounting is a practice these days which has been made computerized, and by taking some of the courses you can learn, and even the laws you can learn by your experience. But your own personality, which is going to make a very important difference to your office, it is your own thought processes, your own perception towards the entire education system. And therefore, I suggest that degree in education or degree in psychology will make a human being better to work as an administration. Secondly, whenever you try to manage certain thing in the office, don't go for micromanagement. Be flexible, be open. Don't try to, analyze minute details of any project or minute details of any kind of activities. Leave it to somebody else, right? But your role is the overall management rather than going to micromanagement. Right from the time you start working in, say, for example, office of an educational institute or a college or a university, make a habit of documenting everything right from the day one. I would suggest that whenever you go for a meeting for any of your higher ups in any institute, in any office or any college, always go with a diary. Write down when the meeting was held, what were the issues discussed, what was suggested by your higher up. Every day, maintain a diary and document every single event, every small thing which you encounter every day. Even I would suggest that when you are listening to the students also, maybe you are listening to 10 different students in a day, try to maintain a record of which student has said what. Because at the end of the day, if you read that diary, you will come to know that how far you have been able to attend to all those things. And if they were not to be attended on the same day, then what is the timeline suggested or timeline required to attend all those things? So develop a habit of documentation. And as I spoke earlier, that even along with the documentation of record, this kind of documentation will also go a very long way in making your institute stronger over a period of time. And whenever someone requires any kind of document, it will be handy with you. While you do all these things, sit together with your colleagues That is a kind of self-analysis that, we all feel when I'm working, I always feel that I am doing very good. But I cannot judge myself. It is the people who come to my office, their views matters to me. Their views are more important to me rather than I telling about myself. So develop very neutral performance indicators, that how much time your office requires for a particular work. And what is the ideal timeline? How much time your office requires? If it is more time, what are the factors? If you are able to accomplish the target within the time, then how is it possible? So develop performance indicators, sit with your colleagues and try to try to discuss that what kind of indicators our office should have, right? So, and at the end of every month, or say at the end of every quarter, try to fill up those performance indicators. That will be a kind of self-appraisal. You will come to know in which areas your office is strong and in which areas you need to improve or you need to pay an attention. I don't say them as weak areas because, every office cannot accomplish everything in time. It is not possible, right? And these days, people ask, to provide the document within 24 hours. They ask for data within 24 hours, right? And I also know that it's not possible. So they are not your weaknesses. But if you want to cope up with that kind of thing, how will you be able to do it? What are the kind of things which you need to equip yourself with that to do that? So that is, that is another important thing, I would say, documentation as well as performance indicators. There are certain, I read something this morning only about the, whatever I have spoken is largely based upon my experiences because I have worked very closely with my college office while I was in college. I have also worked very closely with my management during NEC accreditation or even during pay fixation processes or even during organization of youth festival and everything. So these are some of my experiences which I am sharing with you. But then I thought that I should read something. So I read something about what are the good things or what are considered to be good practices as far as, this office administration is concerned. And I came to know about certain things which I am sharing with you. Right. I did not wanted to prepare slide or anything. Yesterday, I was asked by your director about the topic which I should speak on. I said I will just focus on general key areas of improving the office administration rather than going into technical intricacies because you all are technically so sound. You all are so sound with computer skills and everything. So you don't need to be told about those technical things, and technical things are also mentioned in the rule books. So you read them and you follow it. That is true. I will come to rule book once again in the end. But one thing which I read was that please remain objective in office administration. Now, what do we mean by objectivity? Treat everyone equally. Whether it is an employee which is of a lower cadre, whether it is an employee of higher cadre, whether it is a student, whether it is a parent of student, or whether they are teachers, your response should be an objective response. And if you remain objective without any bias, if you handle the situation without any bias, then only the office will be able to make a decision which is in the interest of institute. Sometimes, when someone comes to meet us, we know that person very well. He or she is a friend of yours, or he or she has been sent by someone for some work. And unknowingly, we don't do these things intentionally, but unknowingly, there is some bias in our mind. Okay, see, this person is known to me, so I will have to quickly finish his work, right? Because he is known to me. This has to be stopped. You should be completely objective and don't handle the situation. Don't conclude anything or don't try to get involved in these kind of work with any kind of bias, because once you have a bias, then sometimes the decision which you take or the decision the administration or the office takes, it is not in the interest of institute, though it may be beneficial to the beneficiary, the one who has come to you, he or she. but not in the instead of institutes. Secondly, constantly while you are working together in office, right, try to constantly motivate all of your colleagues. I have seen sometimes, that whenever a new person joins who is not having any knowledge of college administration, a fresh appointee, has joined as a junior clerk or say as a typist, he or she does not know that, how to deal with this situation. He does not know about the rules. He does not know how the institute is being run. Now that colleague has to be taught and has to be motivated. Has to be taught and motivated in such a manner that within years or within months, he will reach to a level where you are working. Then and then only he will be able to ease your burden. Train them, if you don't teach them what you know, then you are always going to remain overoccupied with the things which you are dealing with, and at the end of the day you will complain कि ये सब तो मुझे ही करना पड़ता है, किसी और को पता ही नहीं है कि कैसे करना, मैं अकेला कैसे करूंगा. But this is because you are not training the other people, you are not training other colleagues, you are not motivating them, you are not, I would say, empowering them to do that. Empower them and motivate them in such a way that they also will be able to excel as you are excelling. And whenever they do something good, whatever, whether it is a class 4 employee, maybe he's a peon of the college, or maybe a Safai Kamdar of the college, whenever some good thing is being done, try to praise them. Because that is the biggest motivation. That आपने आज तो बहुत अच्छा काम किया, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आपने इतना अच्छा काम किया, और मुझे विश्वास है कि आप हर रोज इतना ही अच्छा काम करोगे. Then, on the very next day, you will not have to run after that person to get the things done. So, bonding between all of you, interpersonal skills के बारे में आगे मैंने बताया कि एक आपस में एक मेल तालमेल, वो तालमेल कब आएगा जब आप फ्रैंकली दूसरे कलीग के साथ डिस्कस करेंगे, उनको मोटिवेट करेंगे, उनको एम्पावर करेंगे, उनको सिखाएंगे कि भाई आप बैठो मैं सिखाता हूं कैसे लिखना है. अगर कोई जवाब करना है सरकार को, आप उनको बोलो कि मैं बोलता हूं आप ऐसे लिखो, आप पुराने जवाब पढ़ो. ये सब थिंग्स, if I talk about myself, I was working as an associate professor, I was in academics. My primary responsibility was academics, though I did a bit of administration while I was in college. When I joined this institute, it's a government institute. I was working in a grant-in-need college. The systems are quite different. But when I joined this institute, the first thing which I did for first 6 months was that I read all the files of my department, of my institute, of last 20 years. And that is how I learned that how the file, how the note is being put up, how the file is prepared, how the entire process goes on. I gave 6 months to read each and every file of last 20 years, beginning from 1990 to 210. So, these are the kind of things which you need to tell your other colleagues to do. And this also, opens up one more quality, that you have to be a mentor and not boss. You have to be a mentor for your colleague. And how to become the best mentor? 2 ways. One is share your past experiences. And number 2, by practicing what is good, what is in the interest of institution. So share your past experiences with your colleagues. कि मैं जब ऐसा था, मैं जब यहाँ आया था, तो मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ था, तो मैंने ये किया था. मैं जब वो डिपार्टमेंट में गया, मैं जब यूनिवर्सिटी एनरोलमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में गया, मैं जब एग्जामिनेशन डिपार्टमेंट में गया, मैं जब मैनेजिंग ट्रस्टी से मिलने गया. शेयर योर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड प्रैक्टिस what is best for the institute. If they see you practicing the good things, you don't have to speak anything. You automatically become a mentor. They will see you working in a way and they will try to follow. And whenever required, if somebody is working, try to, give them tips. कि ये ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा होगा, ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा होगा. And that is then, with this mentoring की जो बात आई, उसमें से चौथी बात आती है, that is communication. Unfortunately, I have seen very few persons in my life who are good at communication, because हम लोग ऐसा मानते हैं कि कम्युनिकेशन का मीनिंग होता है कि हम दूसरों को कुछ कह पाए. We should be able to express ourselves. We should be able to pass on the instructions कि भाई आज ये हुआ, आज आपको ये करना है, राइट? और आज यूनिवर्सिटी में ये हुआ, डिपार्टमेंट में ये हुआ, कॉलेज में ये हुआ, ये डिपार्टमेंट के लेबोरेटरी में ये हुआ. That is conversation. That is the sharing of information. But the key of communication, key of a good communicator is to be a very good listener. Listen before you give any of your opinions. Listen before you give any guidance. So be a very good listener. जैसे मैंने पहले बताया कि अगर कोई स्टूडेंट आपके पास आता है और वो उसको कुछ बताना है, आप या 2, 5 या 7 मिनट उनको सिर्फ सुनो, बराबर, वो अपने आप संतुष्ट होके वापस चला जाएगा. ठीक है सर, आपने मुझे सुन लिया, अभी मुझे लगता है मेरा काम हो जाएगा. लाइक दैट, लिसन टू योर कलीग्स, लिसन टू योर, I would say, listen to your teachers, listen to your principal, listen to your management before what you want to say. Sometimes, we have a habit of listening just to give an answer, not like that. But after listening to all of them, try to think that what kind of thing, it is required, what are the best remedy for this particular thing, and how it will be in the best interest of institution. So if you are a good listener, I would tell that you are very good at communication. There is a difference, I told you, between conversation and communication. Conversation is altogether a different thing, and that is a normal thing. When we talk about anything, when we discuss about any ideas, that is another thing. So listening will make you a very good communicator, and that will make you stronger. That will also give you problem solving skills. That will also give you analytical skills. And all these will go in a long way to build up an institution. Having said all this, I would again say that there are certain, जैसे हम बताते हैं NAEC accreditation में कि भाई what are the best practices of an institution. So there are also certain best practices in administration. And this applies to administration, especially administration of academic institution. See, accreditation के प्रोसेस में NAEC पूछता है कि भाई आपकी संस्था है, उसकी बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस क्या है. उससे थोड़ा अलग करके मैं आपको कुछ ऐसा बताने जा रहा हूं which can be included as best practices for any administrative office. They are worth practicing, they are worth learning, because that will do a great value addition to what work you are doing. Because I have seen that the kind of work an office is doing in a college, there is no match to it. I have seen the office people working even on holidays, working beyond their hours, answering on phone calls, sending the data within 12 hours, and attending to so many queries in a single day, complaints also. So let us try to summarize that which could be the best practices in office administration, because if your office administration is excellent, your institute is nothing but excellent. Number one is commitment to the mission. Try to find out what is the mission of your institute. आपकी जो संस्था है, आपका जो कॉलेज है, आपकी जो इंस्टीट्यूट है, वो इंस्टीट्यूट का मिशन क्या है, क्यों ये इंस्टीट्यूट काम कर रही है, स्टूडेंट के लिए क्या काम कर रही है और स्टूडेंट को कहाँ पहुंचाना है. दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग कि यू शुड बी कमिटेड टू द मिशन ऑफ दैट इंस्टीट्यूशन, राइट. नथिंग शुड कम इन वे when you have to decide to reach to that particular mission and try to find out that what is going to be the progression time towards that mission. And for that, to decide the timeline, you should have a strategic plan and strategic vision. Now, what is strategic vision? Try to find out what will be your institute, where your institute will be in say 2030. 2030 में आप अपनी कॉलेज को, आप अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी को, आप अपनी एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस को किस लेवल पे देखना चाहते हो, और वहां तक जाने के लिए कौन कौन से स्टेप्स है, विच आर द स्टेप्स. डिसाइड द टाइमलाइन, डिसाइड द प्रायोरिटी, प्रायोरिटाइज द एरिया कि पहला स्टेप कौन सा होगा, दूसरा कौन सा होगा, तीसरा कौन सा होगा, उसके लिए क्या क्या चाहिए हमें, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ह्यूमन कैपिटल यू विल नीड, what kind of money you will need, what kind of infrastructural facilities you will need, and what kind of resources you have on hand, and what kind of resources you will need to build in the years to come. So, strategic vision as well as strategic mission. Then, once you have decided all those steps, pay attention to every detail. Discuss among yourselves. Prepare a plan, prepare a vision plan, and share this plan with your higher up. कि सर हमारे यहाँ ऐसा है, हमने ऐसा सोचा है कि हम ये कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अगले 10 साल की बात करें तो हमें ये करना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हम सबको पता था 10 साल पहले कि कभी एजुकेशन ऑनलाइन होगा, यार मैं आपको ये मोबाइल से भाषण दूंगा. 10 साल पहले हम नहीं सोच सकते थे. आज देखो आपकी जो एकेडमिक स्टाफ कॉलेज है, इवन इन दिस सिचुएशन, हाउ वेल it is functioning, how well the courses are being organized, and not only, the advantage is not only from Gujarat, but from all over India, people are joining and attending this kind of competency building or development building classes. So, what kind of efforts the director of academic staff college or even the office of academic staff college has put in, so that even when I'm sitting in my office, I'm able to talk to you. So think about the next 10 years, think about the strategic vision, what kind of concept you are practicing today, and how the conceptual changes gradually are going to lead to a new concept. कौन कौन से नए कंसेप्ट आएंगे अगले 10 साल में, उसके लिए भी आपको इक्विप होना है, उसको हर स्टेप को ध्यान में रखना है. देन यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी. यही बात हुई कि वी वर नॉट यूजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी इन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन say before 20 years, before 15 years. Now we are using technology in administration, but you all know that technology also has its own weak points, its own weak areas. We all have, online administration process, online examination, online entry for, say, marks, online entry for internal marks, online entry for, say, uploading the examination form or even enrollment form. My experience says that though we are using technology, this technology sometimes fails us. So I would advise, one of the best practice which has been mentioned over here is that always keep a backup of technology with you. Whatever you have in electronic form, make it a habit of taking a printout every week and maintain a file also. So, this is your backup. That anytime, if you want to see, and sometimes if the technology doesn't help, if the technology is not available at that particular moment, you can use that backup system to have the data. Then, time management and effective deployment of resources. Very important. टाइम मैनेजमेंट के बारे में आप सबको बोलना, I don't think it is necessary, because you all have been managing your time in your life for your own life activities. But if we focus into time management as far as office administration is concerned, when you start your work in the morning, remember what are the things you are supposed to do on that particular day and in what priority you are going to place them. There are certain tasks which you need to do on a priority basis. There are certain tasks which are moderate priority and then low priority tasks. Assign the work immediately, and that is how you will be able to manage so many things, though you are in the office for 6 hours, 7 hours, or 18 hours. And once you have, I would say, assign the tasks by identifying the priority areas, then use the resources. Use the resources around you. You not only use the office resources, also use teaching resources. Try to tell them that you are also part of this institute, and try to use their strengths in helping you. You must be knowing that which teaching staff is more stronger in which particular area. You must be knowing that which staff member is more stronger in which particular area. Try to involve them. Of course, sometimes they will say कि ये हमारा काम नहीं है, ऑफिस किसके लिए कॉलेज में, ऐसा भी सब बोलते हैं. सुन लेने का. I joined my college in 1979 और शुरुआत में तो I was junior, so हमारे कॉलेज में काफी सीनियर लोग थे, तो मुझे इतना एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में इन्वॉल्व नहीं किया गया. जैसे जैसे लोग रिटायर होते गए, एक दिन, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 1992 में मैं घर पे था. इट वाज मंथ ऑफ मे. Naturally, it is a vacation period for teachers, but you know that principal as well as office staff has no vacation. 2 बजे मेरे कॉलेज ऑफिस से फोन आया मेरे प्रिंसिपल साहब का. बोलने लगे कि प्रोफेसर भट्ट क्या कर रहे हो, कैरी खा के सो गए हो. मैंने बोला नहीं सर, ऐसे घर पे ही बैठा हूँ. वो बोलते हैं कि क्या प्रिंसिपल ने गधेड़ी पकड़ी है कि हमको ही सब वैकेशन में काम करना है, इतना सारा काम है यहाँ पे, कल से कॉलेज आ जाओ, एडमिशन का काम है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का काम है. मैंने बोला ठीक है सर, कल से आ जाऊंगा. फ्रॉम दैट मंथ ऑफ मे 1992 onwards till date, I have not enjoyed any vacation apart from 5 days holidays of Diwali. And you all are doing the same. आप लोग भी वही कर रहे हैं. But when you are doing so, try to use the resources around you rather than taking everything onto yourself. अगर किसी को नहीं आता है तो उसको साथ में बिठा के सिखाओ. क्या आप आओ, सब आप आओ ना, ऑफिस में बैठ के चाय पीते हैं, कुछ बातें करते हैं, कुछ नाश्ता करते हैं, और उसको सिखाओ कि देखो ये मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, तो आपको तो मुझसे भी यह ज्यादा अच्छा आता है. Right? Try to involve them, use the available resources, and once you start using the resources, it will be in a way their capacity building. उनका कैपेसिटी. और वो जो 92 से मेरे प्रिंसिपल ने 2005, 2006, 2010 तक मुझे जो सिखाया, 15-16 साल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में, उसमें मैंने नेक कोऑर्डिनेटर का भी काम किया मेरी कॉलेज के लिए, और मेरे कॉलेज कैंपस में आई हुई दूसरी 3 संस्थाओं का रिपोर्ट भी मैंने तैयार किया, हेल्प किया उसमें. तो वो जो मैंने सीखा है, राइट, वो मैं कहीं कॉलेज में कोई क्लास में नहीं सीख सकता. मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला, आई गॉट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी, सो आई लर्न. सो यू, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू टू ऑफर सच अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू अदर्स, कि आप सिखाओ उनको. रेजिस्टेंस आएगा, वो नहीं आएंगे. मुझे पता है कि वो कितने घंटे कॉलेज में आते हैं और क्या करते हैं. यू डोंट नीड टू टेल देम, यू डोंट नीड टू टेल मी, बट उनको अच्छी तरह से बिठाओ, बुलाओ, बराबर. बिकॉज इन ए वे ऑल दोज teaching staff members, till they retire, they are dependent on college office. उनका पेंशन और उसका जो अदर बेनिफिट्स है वो तो आप सब लोग ही करने वाले हैं, तो उनको भी सिखाओ, उनका गेट रिसोर्सेस का यूज करो. वन इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज you should be able to anticipate the needs, right? What are the needs? What are the current requirements? Where are we lacking? What are the requirements in which we are not very good at the level of students? What are the requirements in which we are not very good, whether it is a library resources or sports resources, or whether it is some kind of facilities in the classroom, some kind of facilities in the laboratory, some kind of facilities in the parking, some kind of facilities in the washrooms or in the restrooms or ladies rooms. क्या नहीं है? तो एंटिसिपेट करो, आप नीड एंटिसिपेशन करो कि आज की जो जरूरियात है वो आपने पूरी कर दी, बट दैट इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ द स्टोरी. What are going to be the needs in future, and how are you going to satisfy all those needs? So these are, I've already spoken about communication as well as balancing emotions, that is being very neutral, so I'll not deliberate more again onto that. So मैं ये मानता हूं कि अगर ये सब चीज जो मेरे एक्सपीरियंस के बेस पे मैंने आपको बताया, and some of the things which I tried to read before coming to you will make your office far effective. You all also will be very satisfied. So these are some of the things which I believe are, according to me, it is my own personal opinion. People may differ because I do not know. During your course, many of the experts might have told you quite a lot of things, which might be technical things, non-technical things. Unfortunately, I have not been able to remain in touch with the academic staff college to find out that what are the topics which has been already covered. So if I have repeated some of the things, I believe that you will excuse me, because it is possible that many of the things which I have told might have been told by some better experts also in the earlier days. And still you have one more week, as the professor very rightly suggested, where many of the good things are going to happen. It is, I am very happy to see you all, that you all are interested in this kind of career development or capacity building programs. And the director, Dr. Jagdish Joshi, is making Herculean efforts to run these kind of programs continuously, and he is being very well supported by a team of very enthusiastic and learned people around him. So I congratulate this academic staff college also for the brilliant work that they are doing. I also express my sincere thanks for remembering me. We and Professor Joshi have good memories since 2010, while we were working in in some of the activities of Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, whether it was a teacher training program or whether it was some kind of workshop for ICT, and he has been quite helpful. He was quite helpful right from those days. He was not director at that time, but he was professor. But then also he was quite helpful in helping us, helping the Commissionerate of Higher Education Office, Education Department, with which I am still connected, to develop this kind of program. I am talking in the time, I am talking about the time in the time, I would say, what was the time, I think, of Dr. A.K. Singh, under whom, unfortunately, we have lost him. Brilliant academician, brilliant administrator, but we used to work, in synchrony under his guidance. So thank you, Professor Joshi, for remembering me even after so many years, right? We wish that someday you come to our organization also to visit us, and we will be glad to have your inputs also in the work which we are doing. right? So I invite you. I again thank you all for listening to me, and I express my sincere thanks. I am not going to speak very long because I have another commitment at 1:30. Though the time given to me was 12 to 1:30, but I did not wish to speak that long. I have just tried to cover the key points. You can give your feedback, you can give your suggestions, and if there is a there is a system of questioning, you can question me. I would be ready to answer also if you have any queries, right? So with these words, I think I would end here. And again, thank you so much. It was good speaking to you. My personal experiences, sharing my personal experiences and personal views, and I hope that it will help you in becoming more effective, more capable, and more empowered. So that I wish that the institute in which you are working, comes out with a very brilliant institute. I will just end with one line. When I have conducted large number of teacher training as well as principal training workshop. I have been, Dr. Joshi also used to do that along with that, जहाँ पे हम टीचर्स को प्रिंसिपल्स को ट्रेनिंग दे रहे थे 2010 11 2012 2013 की ये बात है. एंड एंड में मैं पूछता था कि भाई आप सबको ये तालीम दिया है, आप सबको ये ट्रेनिंग दिया है, मुझे एक ही सवाल का जवाब चाहिए कि आपके कॉलेज, आपके इंस्टीट्यूट, आप कब ऐसा बोल सकते हो कि मेरी कॉलेज बहुत अच्छी है और मेरी इंस्टीट्यूट बहुत अच्छी है? व्हेन कैन यू से दैट माय कॉलेज इज वेरी गुड और माय कॉलेज और माय इंस्टीट्यूट इज वेरी गुड? तो पीपल विल से, दे विल गिव डिफरेंट आंसर्स के वी शुड हैव दिस, वी शुड हैव दैट. आई बिलीव जस्ट इन वन लाइन कि जब मैं मेरे बेटी या मेरे बेटे को मेरे कॉलेज में दाखला दिलवाऊं विदाउट थिंकिंग अबाउट एनी अदर कॉलेज, तब मैं मानता हूं कि मेरी कॉलेज अच्छी है या मेरा डिपार्टमेंट अच्छा है या मेरा इंस्टीट्यूट अच्छा है. और आप सबको शुभकामनाएं कि आप सब ये लेवल पे अपनी इंस्टीट्यूट को ले जाओ. जिस दिन आपका बेटा है या बेटे का बेटा है, उसको अगर एडमिशन लेना है, तो देयर विल बी नो अदर चॉइस in your mind apart from your own institution or own college. Thank you so much.